4. Get it? Because today's review is it's 2 by 2 because 2 by 2 is 4. Look at all these movies. Look at all this crap. I don't know what I'm gonna watch. I'll just pick randomly. If I can figure out how to do this. Huh. Oh. 2 by 2. I haven't seen this film in years. Good reason. Now you're probably thinking, Rich, you shouldn't be watching a kid's film. You watch much more mature films than this. Listen, I think that the first and third SpongeBob movies are masterpieces. Which also, you're probably also thinking that those two are actual films that have a lot of, good messages in them. But this one does as well. Just maybe, sort of, I don't know. But anyway, 2 by 2 was the 2015 animated kids film made by lots of people. I don't know who, but lots of people. It is an animated comedy about two fictional animals, a Nestrian named Finny and a Grimp named Leia, who are boarding the Ark with their parents. Bus are thrown overboard. No, this is not the second film. This is the first. We'll be reviewing the second one in the next episode. I ruined my joke. Anyways. So as you can see in the footage, they get stranded, and they have to try and find their way back on, while their parents try to get the Ark to the remaining land. So there are stakes, not literally, but there would be if there wasn't a rule on the Ark, a really interesting rule where carnivores cannot eat the herbivores. Basically, they can't eat each other, so that's essentially a rule. The numero uno rule is that they cannot eat each other, because if they do, then, well, yeah, that becomes a disaster in itself. So, yeah. It's a very simplistic plot, but after I've watched all the confusing and conflicting movies recently, like The Karate Kid, Collateral, and Red Eye, I figured it'd be good to watch a film with a simplistic plot. Even if this one is very simple. But now my history with this film. I saw this film back in primary school and around either 2015 or 2016. And I really liked it. I didn't love it. I still had other movies to watch. But for the most part, I thought this was a pretty good movie. And so I decided to rewatch it recently. And I think it's fine. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. I've seen much worse movies, but, for an animated film for kids, it's serviceable. I wouldn't call it great now, but I think it's a good movie. So why is it a good movie? Well, and by the way, I'm going to be showing the DVD for most of this because, well, there's not much footage online. But anyways, so the film is focused, now, I've already explained the plot, but I'll explain some positives and negatives. So I'll talk about the negatives first, because I do have a few negatives with this movie, as being a generic kids film. And yeah, let's get to that. It's very generic. The plot is very predictable, knowing a film like this. But honestly, I think the plot is serviceable. There are a few good surprises that happen if you're a kid, but I've already seen it, so it doesn't work on me. So the plot is okay. It's predictable, but it's okay. It could have been worse. The real standout for me in this film is not the animation, which the animation in this film is actually pretty good. I actually think it's pretty great. For a lower budget independent animated film, I think it's one of the best looking ones I've seen. Of course, there are better looking ones like Song of the Sea or Wolfwalkers, but I think this one is very good looking. I like to look at it. It's a very nice film to look at, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but anywho. But my biggest positive for me of this film is the comedy. Now, of course, it is still a kids' film, so there is both positives and negatives with the comedy. So the negatives, there's of course lots of poop and pee jokes, like not poop jokes, but fart jokes, lots of fart jokes, particularly with the Nestrians, who, that was a cursed image, who, whenever they're scared, they fart purple gas out of their ears and trunks, essentially. So, yeah, it's not funny. Every time it happens, it is not funny. It didn't laugh. And besides, I'm older, so I've moved on to more, how do I put it, proper and respectable comedy, like Four Lions. Incredible. Anyways, so, however, even though the comedy, most of the comedy in this film isn't funny, there are a few jokes that really made me laugh, particularly all the video game references. There's references to, 2D games, stealth games, and Tetris. Friggin' Tetris. And every single time, it caught me off guard and made me laugh. I expected the Tetris one, but I completely forgot about the other two, which genuinely made me burst out laughing. What I also love about this film is its mean-spirited tone. This is one of those kids' films that's every time these two characters have a glimmer of hope of getting back to the Ark, God suddenly strikes it down away from them, and they have to start from square one again. It's goddamn hilarious every time it happens. That's what I like about kids' movies. That actually try to have a more mean-spirited tone, and showing them that not everything is convenient and smarsh. And how do I say? Not everything is spoon-fed to them conveniently. They actually have to try, and sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, the characters are also pretty one-note, and you know what's gonna happen with them, but I still like the characters. I like the lion villain. He's pretty funny. What I also like is that we haven't really got that many animated films about the Ark. I mean, we have, but they're more human-based, if I can say, or just movies about the Ark in general, like Noah, Evan Almighty. We don't really get animated movies about the Ark from the animal's perspective. That isn't for furries. So yeah, I don't really have that much to say about this film other than it's fine. I give it a serviceable 7 out of 10. But honestly, I think that it's a perfectly fine kids film. It is a very predictable film. The characters are pretty one-note, and some of the comedy can be a bit bad and lowbrow, given a film like this. But honestly, I think I really like the more mean-spirited tone, the some of the humor, and the animation. So it's perfectly balanced out of the things about this film. I also think that the cinematography and editing are pretty good as well, and the backgrounds are pleasing to look at. So honestly, I think this film is fine. It's serviceable. It's not bad. It's not great, but I think it's fine. It's a serviceable kids film. So now I have to get to the other one, 2x2 Overboard, even though they're overboard in this one. So how does that make sense? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you excuse me, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of where Noah is in this movie. Trust me, it's a pretty big rabbit hole that no one has ever gone into because no one actually cares about this movie except for me.